Good evening and welcome to another story. Today we'll be reading The Sisters of Night. The day was long and hot. The traveler could acutely feel the leg strain, the arm burn, and brow sweat. The light never waned and the heat never diminished. The road had been treacherous and felt endless. Far vistas of forests, mountains, seas, deserts, and sky. Resting at the side of the road, quiet and calm, was something the traveler had never seen before. Black and glistening, out of place with the world, was a cave. Hand-forged and cobbled by a practiced artisan, the traveler knew this, because the soft, deft hands were at work even now. Hair as dark as her creation, with skin as smooth as any silk, she bounced from side to side, strengthening and growing her obsidian mark on the landscape. The traveler called to her, and she lifted her head with a smile. As the traveler moved closer, she stepped further inside her shadow dwelling. She was not escaping, but beckoning. The last thing visible as she slid inside was her hand, soft fingers curling inward. The world was sweltering, bright, and suffocating. Wiping away sweat, the traveler cautiously placed a hand on the obsidian cave. Despite the overwhelming heat, the cave was cool to the touch. The tool marks were waves across the surface, rippling and pulling as light pulsed like an ocean of fireballs. The mound of darkness stood defiant, absorbing what it wanted and repelling all else. Faintly, the traveler thought there was a smell of something sweet inside the cave. One step, then another. The traveler slipped inside the dark veil, leaving the crushing light behind. All direction fell away. The traveler thought perhaps the cave was leading downwards, but there was no way to tell. The air no longer scorched, but soothed. With eyes open wide, it was difficult to fathom how dark it truly was. Even closing the eyes in the world outside, it was never so dark. With a thud, the traveler tripped and tumbled deeper and deeper until there was something behind and a platform below. The smell was overwhelming. Sugary sweetness and fruity fragrances of every kind. Smoking meats and sizzling oils, luscious butters and sultry chocolates. A quick whiff of sulfur, and the darkness was split by 1,000 small fires all around. The traveler was surprised to find they were resting in a chair with a grand table spread before them, covered in 100 different meals, treats, and confections. On the other side of the table, arranging the foods, was a woman with hair as fiery as the light around her. Her hands were quick, and she smelled as good as the feast she made. She broke the din of crackling fire and roasting meat with a hello, as sweet as the food. "Please, eat," she said, gesturing to the endless cuisine. The aromas were too intoxicating to require a second invitation. The traveler scooped up a gob of hot meat and bit in before washing it down with steaming soup. No taste in the entire life of the traveler was ever so exquisite. "My name is Doss," the skilled chef said. "You already met my sister, Not." The dark artisan stepped forward and smiled. "Welcome to our house of night. Enjoy our food. When you are sated, our sister Vaisa will perform for you." The traveler had never heard such names and had never heard of night before, let alone stepped into a house of it. If the night was always filled with such talents and sensations, the traveler hoped to return regularly. The traveler crunched into fruit, swirled noodles, gnashed into meat, slurped stews, bit into pies, lapped up creams, and swallowed drinks of every kind. Every bite was satisfying, and every taste was more incredible than the last. As the food weighed down the traveler's stomach, so too did it begin to draw down the traveler's eyelids. As the sisters watched, the traveler slowly fell asleep. At the cue of soft breathing and light snoring, Vaisa stepped in and took the traveler away. In a vast proscenium sparkling with opals, pearls, topaz, rubies, and sapphires, the traveler sat in a plush seat as Vaisa posed on the stage, her hair as bright as the gems around her. Light rose as Vaisa took a step closer and began to speak with clear presence to every seat in the wide hall. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, creatures of the days and nights, welcome. Tonight we have a very special original production for you, but the work will not be mine alone, however, she orated as she gestured to the traveler, eyes still closed. Many of the scenes you see tonight will be inspired by things long lost, times long hoped for, triumphs, fears, aspirations, and delusions. Lights from unseen sources faded down until only the performer was illuminated. If, at any point, you become frightened or enamored, remember, it is only as real as you believe it to be. The room fell into darkness. A moment later, the stage returned to light, changed. Eyes shut, the traveler saw a home where a child was playing, a child wearing the face of the traveler. As the performance began to unfold, the traveler watched as scenes from the past were expertly reenacted. A skinned knee, a birthday, lessons hard taught, love found, family lost. Climbing, laughing, crying. A tiger appeared, loping ominously across the space until it turned and gazed into the traveler. Shining stones on the golden walls shifted in their sockets and turned to pierce the traveler with their combined view. Beasts that never existed and creatures long unseen unfurled on the stage. Smoke swirled all around them, and the traveler's heart raced. Then, a human creature in bright red danced across the stage, eyes bright blue and hair flowing. The traveler's heart raced for a different reason then. The tableau weaved and danced with images the traveler had never imagined possible and moments forever longed for. The backdrop, momentarily a dense forest, tilted and fell forward towards the audience. Gasping, the traveler sat up. The sun was bright and blinding as it ever was. Squinting, the traveler looked around and saw a tree propped behind and a large field ahead. The stage was gone, as was the comforting darkness. The traveler now sat in the pale shade of the tree, returned to the world of the linear and familiar. The traveler pondered how they could have gotten there. Had they fainted under the heat? Had it been some ration gone bad? The traveler's fist clenched on something hard. Resting in the palm of the traveler's left hand was a small, black stone. Holding it to the light, it shimmered like 100 candles surrounded by waves of black ink. The traveler smiled at its beauty. Holding the stone tight, the traveler stood and continued the long trek through the lucid light of day, hoping to one day return to that spectacular place, night. been the Sisters of Night. I hope you enjoyed the story, and that the days find you well, and the nights come swift and soothing. Sweet dreams.